We are
Perfect.
live. Oh, nice one, Tom. Well, thank you very much. Right, this is Fight Breakdown with Mason the Dragon Jones.
The one and only lightweight champion.
We got myself, Greg, obviously a lot you know myself, and also we got Rhys Jones as well, who's Mason's strength and conditioning coach. Basically, we put this together just so we could break down one of Mason's fights, which we put out last week to see which fight you guys would like broken down, and it was the Alexei Manchchivi fight, which you guys wanted to see. Exciting fight, Mace. Yeah, I think you agree.
Yeah, definitely. Power puncher as well, wasn't it? So it was an exciting fight, and it's a fight where I think we got to see a mix of all levels.
So when we prepared, obviously, Mason's quite methodical with preparing for fights, so he wants a detailed breakdown of a game plan for each fight, which we're not going to give anything specific away what we actually do. The coaches who break the fights down is myself, Craig Ewers, and Lyndon, Mason's boxing coach. So we get together, we jot it down, and this is kind of the book. This is what it looks like. We write everything down, and then we go through it, and we kind of devise a game plan which suits Mason for each fight. Leading into this fight, Mace, what was the plan from your point of view? Initially, as soon as we seen Alexei, what was the plan?
So obviously, as soon as you watch a couple of videos on him, you see he has some big knockouts. He has a dangerous backhand, and he's knocked a few out. He's also got dangerous back leg kick. So we knew he was strong off the one side, and I was going in there expecting to sort of have someone who hits and hurts. So the whole thing was to stay away from that side. So obviously he was was he ortho or southpaw? I can't remember. He was orthodox.
Orthodox, yeah.
Ortho. So big right hand, big right leg kick. So we knew we had to stay on his left side. Obviously that's away from his right hand. So on his left side, so I'd be going to my right. And so obviously to stay on that side to neutralise his kick in his hand. And same as I mostly do is use mobility to destroy most people. Just stay active, move in and move out, and pick him up. The game plan, we knew it was going to go to sort of second round. The game plan was obviously to finish him in around late first, second round. So late first or second round. So we wanted to sort of pick him up, hurt him, chew him up a little bit, slow him down, and then take him down when he was ready and finish him. And obviously we just stay away from that big power hand. So
yeah, some of the notes I still got written down for the fight as well. Is the good right hand, good right low kick. But what I've got wrote down as well from the fight, which we noticed as well, which I think Rhys can kind of elaborate on this a little bit, was his work rate wasn't as high as yours. It's particularly when he's going into like the second and third round as well. So Rhys, when we kind of come up with this game plan looking for Mason for this Alexei Manchchivi fight in particular, what was kind of thought process around strength and conditioning?
Mostly to work on power, really, because Mason spent half the camp at Team Alpha Male in Sacramento. A little bit more intense training than what he's used to here, just because sheer volume of the number of UFC Bellator fighters. You got wrestling world champions, etc. There, it's a bit more intense session. So for him to get the best of that technically, we sort of dialed back the specific conditioning when we were out there. So we worked on just more power, just being able to keep that Mason's power longer into the fight. Because from what the skills coaches wanted, what you guys, Craig and Lyndon, was him to really put a pace on him. So we had to be able to keep up, his power for longer through the round. And it showed. He was just peppered him constant. It was just like that death by 1,000 cuts, where you could see, especially in the fight then, I think where it worked is that you will see later on, every time he's trying to take a breather, Mason's in on him straight away. And for me that worked perfectly. But
one of the jobs as well for as a strength and conditioning coach as well, alongside this, what you do as well is you kind of come up with a formula after the fight as well. Breaks in between punches, how long punches lasted in combinations, and breaks in and out, transitions. So like for this Manchchivi fight, what was Mason's punching rate or breaks in between combinations for this one?
Yeah, so the pleasing thing about this fight was that, as going through all the like how many punches you throw, and trying to like figure out Mason's rhythm, like where we can improve on for next time. You know, perhaps if he was weaker in one area. But what we really noticed is that the longest period he took between strikes or any kind of combo or engaging with Mantekivi was only 7 seconds. That was once, I think, in the second round. You know, that's ridiculously short.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
a lot of people
considering a lot of the feeling out process within a fight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like if we've got like the longest time he was controlling the opponent, controlling him on the cage was 45 seconds. You know, but a lot of people who want to drag a fight out or like drag people on the cage. You know, like, tactically trying to wear their opponent down. Like Mason was doing both, but not taking a rest.
Do you know when we come up with a game plan like this and we're saying to you, you know, you've got to put a pace on this guy from the go, knowing that you're coming up against a kind of a dangerous striker like Mantekivi as well. What's your thought process when your coaches are telling you this is what you need to do and you're the one responsible for carrying it out, really, you know?
Well, since I was a kid, since I first started in martial arts, my sort of strongest aspect has always been that I'm always fitter than anyone else, and that's never so much as how much prep goes into it, as well as that's more so to do with the prep I put into it, as well as sort of naturally having a good gas tank and always being able to push and dig that extra gear and then push it through. So I've always been able to sort of push hard and sort of keep going for longer than everyone else. But I think obviously the way my prep now, I'm sort of able to hit harder, to sort of use more strength in all aspects of my fighting and sort of maintain that, so that I'm sort of keeping the high volume I've always had, but it's just sort of hitting harder, pulling faster. Everything's harder and faster than I've ever been able to do before.
That's something we identified in the lead up to this fight. You know, is that you're physically going to mature anyway. You know, it's not all just from strength. You're going to physically mature as you're getting older. But you know, we identified you're not going to get that power like improvement like straight away from just doing 8 weeks in the gym or 8 weeks specifically with working on power punches to Linden. You know, we knew it was going to be a longer term thing, and we showed that in the Joe McColgan fight for the title. And that was, you know, like a big leap in that.
Well, all you have to do is look at my debut, the shape on me in my debut compared to the shape me now, and again I'd still been working with Rhys for 3-4 years, and it's like I'm always getting bigger, I'm always getting musclier, and I'm always getting leaner. So like my latest cut against Joe, obviously biggest cut we've ever done, and if the weight come off pretty easily, like there was never any red flags, any problems where we thought, shit, we're really gonna have to struggle here. It went.
That was probably the easiest cut, the last one, wasn't it? That's the easiest cut
definitely.
By far.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that little bit of pressure on, because obviously, like, you know, me and you do your weight cuts again, Mace. You know, obviously with help of Paul, Erin, your nutritionist, but you know, it's always like that little bit of, like, it's a title fight, you know, you've got to make sure that extra pound comes off, whereas, you know, the pressure's off a little bit. But, you know, I think the weight cuts are getting easier and easier now, you know.
Yeah,
easier, and we're getting bigger and bigger. Sorry.
Right, going back towards this Mantekivi fight as well. So this was in Cardiff. It was the main event. You wasn't scheduled for the main event on the evening, but you got the main event, #1 spot. How difficult was it to kind of soak up that pressure of being a last minute main event, really?
What do you mean pressure? That crowd, honestly, the noise that crowd makes and how hyped up everyone gets, it's literally it's hard to stay calm, because everyone is literally it's literally like it's like going home. It's that's the home crowd. Everyone's cheering you on. Everyone wants to see you do well, and everyone wants to see blood. So it's about staying calm and sort of embracing their atmosphere. And it's literally my favorite walk I've ever done. I think it's exciting, and it's hard to put into words. But
I think for you, talking to you, obviously I'm around you a lot. Talking to you on a day, it was kind of that I kind of made it moment, wasn't it? You know, the main event, Cage Warriors, you're not far away. The belt's on his way, no matter what. So it was kind of the feeling of, I'm here. This is where I deserve to kind of be a main event in Cardiff. That's what we've always wanted, yeah.
Well, it was ever since we beat Desmond, we knew obviously I was next in line for that belt. So we saw this as sort of beat Alexi, and then we'll get the title shot. Obviously, things didn't quite work out that way, where I beat Alexi and they still wanted another step up before I got a title shot. And then obviously situation depending, we got the title shot early, but it was inevitable. Like I said, this title was inevitably mine. It didn't matter who they put against me, and it doesn't matter now who they put against me. It's going to stay mine.
Well, it's not just that, every fight you've had as well, Mace. I don't think people I don't think people realize as well. You've always fought some people with positive records. I'm looking through my notes now. Starting off with Sean Luther was your first fight. And Sean, in his last fight, knocked out Martin McDonough down in Cage Warriors in Cardiff, which was, I think everyone was a bit like, wow, Martin's a super tough guy, and obviously he's been around for a long, long time. I know he's coming back after a couple of years off, but Sean's a tough guy. Brett Aslett, that was a tough fight. That was your only fight outside Cage Warriors as well, which that's another guy with a positive record who's been around for a long time. Lawrence Tracy on Cage Warriors Academy in Abbeville, that was, wasn't it?
No, that was Newport.
Lawrence was Newport.
Lawrence Tracy was Newport. Yeah, it was Craig Edwards was. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Lawrence Tracy, Craig Edwards. Then it was Common Day up in London. That was another guy with a positive record who's fought, top prospects. Jack Shaw beat him, but he was stepping up the lightweight to fight, which it was no cut for him. It was easier, you know what I mean? So, and then we look at Casper Famela, Desmay, Mantachivi. Man, you've
Joe
got some
McColgan.
tough guys. And then Joe McColgan last fight. So do you know what I mean? All these guys who fought, I don't think a lot of people realize that they've all got more positive records. You've been around longer than you as well. So you've only just turned 25 as well, especially for MMA. That's pretty decent. So let's get into it, is it? Shall we start the fight up? Let's see what we're doing. So I don't think we got no sound with the fight, so we're just going to watch it as it goes. If there's anything you want to say, Mace, as we're going, but pause it or whatever, we'll pause it up. Yeah. So at this point, what are you thinking? What are you thinking at this point, Mace? When you're in the fight, you're strolling back and forth. I know what I'm thinking, but what are you thinking at this point?
Hurry up, shut the cage door, and let us go.
Just want to scrap.
And this guy looks like me.
The thing is, I don't think people understand. Is like all the visualization process is done, all the training camp is done, everything is done. There's no pressure at this point. Like all I'm waiting to do is for you to start, so that I can literally go. So when you were walking back and forth, all I'm thinking of is like how I'm going to lead, what my first steps are going to be, what I'm going to do, ready to go, and I'm just literally thinking in my head, just hurry up. This was this is the first time I've done this, where we come to the center and before the fight. Obviously, I've done it in the lower levels, but I've never done it in a stack card like that. And I made sure you're waving the. So stop it there, man.
Yeah, what's with the waving? I know you mentioned it in your last fight, and I know why. But why? A lot of people may not understand. What's with the no touch of gloves?
So obviously they sensed in the middle. We touch gloves. Like that's the only touch of gloves I'll do. So, anytime after that, the fight's beginning. So they've said go. Anything can happen. So I've done judo fights before. This is the main reason. Really, I've done fights before where I fought people and I've almost lost in opening seconds because I've gone to touch gloves and they've sucker punched me. And I've seen it. I don't know how many times in fights where people will go to touch gloves and they'll get a free shot. And so I just, no disrespect to Alexi, no disrespect to anyone. I just won't touch gloves after that. Like we've touched gloves once. I don't want to keep touching you. The only after that, I'm just looking forward to punching you in the face. There's always respect. So after the Common Day fight, we talked about this. There was some people who were sort of saying that I was disrespectful in my approach and they're not touching gloves, the oblique kicks. And my response to that was to post a photo of me and Common Day having a hug after the fight and posing for photos. And there's always respect between me and my opponents. They all know what's online and they all know the rules. And it's not doing anything dirty. It's all legally allowed. I'm not eye gouging people or kicking them in the cup. It's all legal things. It's all part of the rules. So I just.
It's probably become an habit as well now. You can't not do it now.
Well,
it's one of those things.
It's one of them things I'm just always more comfortable with. I don't think I'd be comfortable with touching gloves before someone. I have my process of approaching and finding my range, and I'm not interested. So if this time I remember I waved Mantakivi 3 times saying don't touch your gloves, and he's still interested in touching gloves, and I wanted to make sure.
He's a nice guy. I think he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy.
I think he was too, but obviously I want to make sure that he didn't get the wrong impression, so that there was no touch of gloves, and he knew that was it was going to be on. Like, I didn't want him to sort of get caught cold if he did try and me catching him on the way in. Right, go.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dominic.
You actually look identical. You're like twins, you know.
No.
You are.
Right, so game plan here straight away is to come out, pick him up with a jab, straight away, land that jab on him, find my range, and work that leg kick. That's usually my opening moves. Straight away, set up, start smashing that front leg, just to sort of decrease his mobility. He sort of started quite stronger than I expected. Caught me with a kick. I didn't manage to check, but I start finding my range, my jab, get my mobility, and I'm just finding distance now. So it's nothing too crazy. I'm not too hard. I'm just sort of trying to find distance, work front leg, and just start slowing him down. Like, mobility is a dangerous thing in fights. So obviously screw shot there. Little head kick, but again, we're just feeling each other out. Finding
Not
the
just
range,
that. I think you've got one of the most underestimated jabs in MMA at the moment, because everything comes off your jab, everything works off your jab. You find your range so well with your jab as well. It's nice to watch, to be honest, especially in MMA. I don't think enough people use it, you know.
So here now, my attack is starting to land a bit more than his. Like, every attack he throws sort of either land on a guard or it's landing as I'm moving away. Obviously, it's a bit more head-to-head than we expected, but this is more to sort of do with. When I started catching his shots against the glove, we expected a power puncher, and I was catching his shots, checking his kicks, and they just wasn't as much power as I expected. So it was just sort of feeling him out, making sure I'm pressuring him back and keeping the pressure on him, and just, like I said, grinding it out. And then
I think yours with the pace picks up. I think around about the 330 mark, you kind of pick a pace up because you caught him.
Yeah, you can see he's like he steps back to set. Every time he steps back to set, he can get his guard, makes him on him straight away.
He caught me then with a left hook on the way in. Obviously, the teep after that, when we reviewed it, the teep there was a stupid idea. Like, I was already pushing forwards, but didn't need to do it. He's caught me with a cut there as well now, so I've got a little cut on top of my eye. Which at this time I still don't really know. So I'm pushing on.
Lovely roll.
Good roll though.
That's a lovely roll.
Yeah.
That's a judo coming into practice, that is, mate.
Like, look, his face is red. I'm constantly landing shots. Like, he's cut on the outside, but he's wobbling his back legs and steady, and I'm fucking him with shots.
But if you stop it there, I think the issue with this fight was that we wanted to make it a technical fight. You know, we knew how dangerous he was. And then 3 minutes 30 in, they started to just go, Mason Jones, let's just bang again, you know what I mean? And I think this is where, like, the kind of the middle ground for you is, you see the kill you, but you still got to try and keep it technical, but you're still trying to want to knock him out at the same time, which I don't know.
Like
as a coach, I look at this and I want you to be, I want you to kind of, I want you to put someone away. I think that's key.
When we look back at it, one of the main things that, like I said, one of the things, like, we'd done the whole prep on him being a power puncher and how dangerous his punches were, and then coming in, and when I caught a few of his punches, and just there was nothing there. Like, I sparred power punchers, and I've dealt with power punchers in the gym, and it's sort of getting through with doing what I'm doing here, but just being a little bit cleaner with it, and making sure I'm getting that half step back out and not getting cut too much. Because, like we said, those two cuts to my eyes could have ended this fight. So, like, if he caught me again, they could have obviously made a difference. So, like, now, this is where, at this point in the fight, I start realizing I've got a cut on my eye. Obviously, with adrenaline stuff in there, I didn't really feel the cuts. It was only now I could feel it itching that I start touching my head and sort of feeling it a little bit. I start noticing.
Let's play it on. Let's play it on. Yeah, he's gone static now.
Yeah, slowing him right down. Obviously, I'm here now. I remember you and Lyndon saying, "Look, move your feet, keep picking up that jab, and work that front leg." Because I'm not doing the low kick in a minute now, so I'm working a little bit, and then we go back to it. But there, so like his hits don't land. I'm out of range, and mine's starting to land.
But not only that, he didn't throw as many looping shots that we kind of expected either, because your guard was quite tight, and we worked on, obviously, Lyndon worked a lot on keeping your guard tight, but he didn't throw as many looping shots as we thought, if you know what I mean. There's a nice shot there. Nice with dance right on the pipe, but
stop throwing teeps on the attack. That's
yeah.
Yes, nice at the cut down. It's that deep again. It's because I knew he was tiring and that back leg wobbling left, right, and centre. So this is the other thing Lyndon pointed out. Like, see, I'm following him and chasing him. This is bad. So in boxing, you should always cut the angle, and instead I'm just following him. Obviously, there's that blood on my cheek there, and I'm constantly putting pressure on. But you should always be cutting the angles. Like, if anything, my boxing coaches have explained to me is you don't need to follow people. You just cut the angle and let them fall into the range. Like, this isn't it now. Obviously, I know I'm speeding, so it's like, look, take him down, get a sub, and clearing the leg, make sure he doesn't kill me.
If you pause it, Tomo, this is an area that we worked on quite a lot from grappling exchanges as well, Mace, wasn't it? So especially
100%.
when he was out in Team Alpha Male as well. What we kind of worked on with Mankachivi in particular year was once he went down, he wasn't getting back up. There was no way that Mankachivi, if we went for a takedown, that he was going to be able to get any confidence from getting back to his feet. We knew you would out grapple him. So this area, it was a lot of detail went into this particular area, and you took him down right in the corner, which was perfect as well, wasn't it? So this is what we call like the hip tie here. We can see where Mason's got like the belt around the hips. And if you pay it on now, I think Mason starts then going for like the Kimura grip, which stops Mankachivi standing back up with his right hand, I think.
So,
see where he's facing with his right hand? You dump him down, and then we make sure then you get that Kimura grip there. See? Beautiful.
One of the main reasons I did it that way was obviously make sure he didn't get the guillotine. He had a bit of a guillotine previous fights. So I want to make sure we're staying away and obviously try to stay active. Here I'm trying to obviously secure my hand and just sort of try and work away. Obviously Mankachivi's still strong, still grabbing onto that hand.
I think a lot of people underestimate you trying to pummel your head in there as well, trying to clear the arm, stuff like that. Little subtle details, which is key, I think. See where you're pummeling your head back in, and it allows you going for your Kimura, allows you to get shots off.
Yeah, I should have cleared my leg first. That's one of the mistakes I make.
But this Kimura trap position, we talked about this after as well. I don't think you could have done anything more. You couldn't. That technically there, where you're sprawling out over the body, is almost perfect. There's not much more you can do.
All I had to do was squeeze that out. That is his elbow to my chest. Squeeze it in, and I would have broke that shoulder. And I know that sounds gruesome, but if you see the angle on the arm, it's sort of in a V shape instead of an L shape. And an L shape, that would have.
But that sprawl position there, that's kind of what we teach. We do that sprawl position. We don't teach in any other way, really. We don't step the head and sit up and the old traditional style. Good first round.
Yeah. So bit too even on the striking, 10-9. I should have been a bit cleaner what I'd done. Obviously now the two cuts, and obviously I did Bob's head in here because he's telling me to turn towards him and I'm trying to look at the coaches. So Bob's the cut man in the corner and he's a wonderful guy. But so a bit scrappier than we would have liked. Obviously it's not this isn't my favourite fight out of all the ones we had. I got a bit sort of gun-ho looking for that finish. And the front kicks, even though they worked well, I think looking back on it, especially with my Thai and my Taekwondo coaches, we picked out replacement.
I think the front kicks is once you've drilled something like that and you've got it into your game plan, I think it's hard not to do it when you're in the fight. It's kind of already programmed into you, so you're going to do it.
Yeah, against
With other fights, you haven't done it so much. With this fight in particular, it was to keep them at distance, so I think it was programmed into you more.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's this one now where I look at the camera just to check on the cuts in my eye.
So if you pause it there.
There we go. Yeah, that's right.
We had a conversation in the corner, didn't we? And I think this is where we switched to plan B, yeah?
Yeah, so obviously rather than go out there and try and knock him out, just take him down and sub him. The Kimura obviously should have been over with that Kimura. When we went back, it was sort of a simple mistake that was more so to being a bit over eager to get a finish. I was racing against the clock because I thought obviously it was so close. Like as soon as I missed the Kimura, there was 2 seconds before they stopped it. So it was a bit of a rush to get that Kimura finish. And obviously he had no interest in tapping. So going back and cleaning it up, all I literally needed to do was squeezing it a bit tighter and I would have finished it. So it's these mistakes that sort of can cost you fights. And it's one of the reasons I'm so thankful that I've had the Cage Warriors experience I have.
Awesome.
Tommy, play.
Massive shout out to Tom Chapman as well, who's helping us out with the live streaming.
Technical issues.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. Straight away, straight back on the aggressive. I wanted to give him the sort of the image that I was going to strike with him a bit more. So I ate him up a little bit. This is when I started chaining combos together well. Like I'm fully in control now. This is me. And then I shoot for a takedown, pull a single, chase, scoop the leg. And,
so normally from
sweep
where
full run the peg.
normally from in this position here where you go for that tie around the back on the hip, you normally step out and go like urinag position, yeah?
Yeah. Because obviously he's got the foot in and he's lacing the
Yeah.
foot well.
He done really well there to keep his foot inside to try and stop the takedown.
Yeah, he was strong here as well. There was a bit of poke. So I run him against the cage just because I knew if I push him against the cage, it's harder for him to defend. There's not much he can do there. I've tied his left hand up. The right arm, he's got loop in. He can try and do those little slap shots, but it's literally the tickles. Here, I tried to knee the leg a little bit. Obviously, I showed the importance of those against the Joe fight. And now I'm trying to tip his balance onto our one leg. So I'll constantly keep working the knee, just make sure I'm staying active. Find until his knees get together, and then I'll either run or I'll tip him and either scoop the leg or drag him down. So it's just to make sure that I'm winning the fight. The judges know exactly what's happening and get the opportunity to drag him down.
Yeah, it was just a rag down basically there from the hip tie, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is one of the things we talk a lot about is using drag downs instead of picking people up. They work exactly the same as takedowns. They just use less energy. Like all I'm doing is dragging them over the feet. Now again, we're back in the position, the control
the way
position.
you get your head on the inside to clear that arm, clear his right arm.
Yes.
I think things like that in grappling exchanges as well. I think people underestimate, those head positions in the grappling exchanges as well there.
So
and one thing we worked on with Mantachivi as well, once he was down, he didn't get back up, but we particularly worked on as well, not going to the mounted position to allow him to explode out as well. So you'll see this now, I think, coming into some mistake.
So there's that guillotine attempt he went for again.
And that Von
straight
Flew
away,
position.
Von Flew. One of the things we worked on this, like I come really close to tapping him this. Like he was such a tough guy. Like the pressure I'm putting through there, it's just
I think
if you look, my left hand is over the top of my right.
I think Craig needs a big shout out for this as well, because what Craig has done with this position as well was he said that he noticed in some of his fights that he would go for like the guillotine tie, wouldn't he? So I think Craig identified with you as well to obviously drop him into side and then use the Von Flew as well as a position to threaten.
Especially as well, it gives me the opportunity for the Kimura again. That's true, I set it up now, so I'll go to up. Oh, sorry, go to up, and then work the
you could have easily, like in positions like this, you could have easily went for the mount position, but why when you can control the back so well? You're really good from controlling the back. Here's the Uranag, I think, coming up here.
Mat return, yeah.
Lovely.
2 hooks in, I tried for, didn't get it. So there's my 1 hook, there's my 2, nope, there's my 1 hook. Pull into the side, work the body triangle or the 2 hooks. So
and this is, I think this is a good thing about this fight is once he went down, he struggled to get back up, and once we gained the dominant, like easily you could have went to mount you, but you stuck to the game plan. You went to his back. We did think he would be easier to submit than he was. We did think once you got to the back that you would have finished him. We're not going to say that you didn't think you could do that, but he was tough, man. He was real tough here. He had nothing else in him but to survive.
Well, I remember we were having the conversation after this fight where you said, look, he'd be too technical, you should have just choked his chin. It's one of the ways we changed my training a little bit because I'd gone through sort of being a good training partner and making sure the choke's underneath the chin. And now with certain training partners, obviously I won't be.
Well, you've got your pro training, you've got your pro training partners and the guys who you grapple with regular, myself and Jamie, guys like that, and they don't mind a little bit of roughness.
Obviously, a little bit of roughness, me trying to choke the teeth out, but it's made the difference so much. Like I think chin really get choked so much more lately, and obviously I didn't get the opportunity to show it, but like as a control position, like when I go your back, I'm gonna finish you there. Like he's switching, he's trying to stay active, and he's working, and I'm just constantly chipping away at him, trying to get that chin, and just keep working. So one of the things I did after this as well is sort of go through a system in place so that when I do get you, if they're strong and if they're good at defending their hands, ways to tie the hands that they get a finish. And
I can remember the session. Yeah, Craig's been working. I can remember we've kind of got some options as well from there as well, which has worked.
But again, like I'm winning this fight. Like I'm on the guy's back, punching in the face, trying to choke. He's not winning this. All he's doing is wasting energy. Now obviously I knew the time, so we just work some shots in and just make sure he knows I'm there and then try and slip the choke.
He's literally just surviving.
Mace, did you think he changed anything in the fight?
No,
Like in terms of his, like, because obviously Greg mentioned that you went to Plan B. You had a plan,
I don't think he changed anything. This is the thing. This is one of the things I don't really fight. If something's not working for you, why don't people adapt? It's one of my key things that I'll try things, and if they're not working out, then you adapt them. Like the guy knows now I'm taken down. I've got 2 cuts on my eyes. I've taken him down straight away in the second round. The third round now, surely should be expecting a takedown. So
Well, this
change
is,
it up.
I think, looking into the third round now. This is one thing that I noticed as well. Like, if you inflicted this damage on someone who was behind on the scorecards, I'd clearly expect you to go after those cuts with left hooks, bombing left hands over the top, just trying to put a little bit more damage on the cuts. But I think once we're looking into the third round, he just stick the straight shots. I don't think he
here
tried.
now I'm fresh. I'm not tired. I'm ready to go for another. I could easily go for round. Obviously this round and 2 more. Like it wouldn't have been a problem then, and that was allowed before I increased my run. So
yeah, that's the one thing I've always been confident of. And any time we've done any preparation leading up to any fight, like if you had to do another 2 rounds, if they made it a title fight 2 days before and said you've got to go 5 rounds, and no worries. That's the one thing. You've always had such a good base level of conditioning, and then everything we've done on top then is just topping it, and just keep chipping away at it. You could easily do 5 rounds of this.
100%. So again, picking up the strikes, just make sure it head back and hurting him here. And like these shots are going through and work, making sure I'm slipping the body shots in with the head shots. Just make sure he's gassed in there. It's a good sprawl, but he straight away out changed.
He's trying to go that
run the guillotine,
yeah.
and I'll just run the top. So obviously, looking back, I know you always say I should stay longer in side control because I do rush through positions sometimes. But I just go overexcited and want to get that finish. So again, we're working for the Kimura straight away. Top, tie the arms up, work the tie.
Arm trap there as well. I think just where you go for that little triangle variation.
Just put pressure again on him and work the head a little bit. Pull the hand out, come back up, and then work the Kimura again. Kimura tie. Drive that nice and tight. Again, I haven't really got it in tight enough here, so that's in one hand. So I've slipped the one hand now. I was going to use it and sort of
go like a single
sort of just
hand.
control, just to sort of keep some pressure on him because I quite get around. I couldn't quite get a good tie of it. So work some elbows. It's just sort of keep constant.
From a grappling point of view, it's completely dominant, isn't it? He's not doing anything offensive at all, other than just trying to get to his feet when he can. But I think he's just exhausted at this point.
Yeah. Obviously, that's another position we worked on because obviously I'm having a bit more trouble getting around those arms than I should have. So obviously me and you worked on it after, to just sort of like feeding in, pushing it down, sleep top and the knee in place. But again, he stands up and straight away he's just going straight back down.
Here's where you get a real tight Von Flew against the cage by ear, and I think this point.
No, my right hand's over the top of my left. It should be the left top. If I got that top, finish. Like the pressure on his head, like his head's going bright blue.
Yeah.
Purple, sorry. Colorblind. The kick out as well. Like he was definitely, I could hear it struggling there. Like this is another position he should have been over. If I got my hands in the right place and really applied pressure, I think it would have been okay. But he's a tough guy. Like Alexa Keeley he really was giving it everything he had to stay in there, and he
didn't give up. You can give him that. He didn't give up at all.
So now we sort of have a little break. Where are we going to go next? Work for mount or work back around the top. So I think
mount was one of the positions that we abandoned, wasn't it? Just for the explosiveness of him trying to get up. You're confident inside mount. You're confident with like the leg ties or the chiropractor positions. You're confident taking it back. So why would we risk someone who's dangerous shooting up to their feet when you can just control them in other positions? I think that was drilled into you from day one. I think with this fight.
Obviously, is our arm in the way again? So clear it out.
Here's where your wrestling comes into practice, isn't it? A lot. We're working out in Team Alpha Male, being confident in our position.
Obviously, we talked about afterwards just flattening him out instead of taking the back sort of thing, pushing the hips through, and obviously we work a lot on that as well. So little things like this. Is what I mean. I'm always building my game. There's always something new I can work on, and it's always like we're a better fighter after every time. Like I don't think one of my fights I've sort of gone back. Every single my fights have showed progression and show that I'm a dangerous fighter in different areas. And this was another one-sider. Like I don't think in any of my fights, and obviously I'd love someone to point out where I have to show me where I've lost a round. In any of my fights, if you can point out one fight where I've lost a round, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. So if you're watching at home, drop a comment
Well,
in
it's not
if
much.
you find
There's
a
not
fight
much to
that-
choose from. It's only three. It's 3 submissions, 3 TKOs or KOs, and 3 decisions. So it's not bad. Not bad at all, mate. At this point, 30 seconds left. What are you thinking, Bat?
Why won't you just let me have your chin? Just let me choke you. Please let me choke. Just give up. I should have been talking to him, but I think I was just too irritated. At this point, obviously, I'm really hard on my. I made a absolute meal of this. I missed the Kimura. I missed the Von Flu, and now I can't even choke you. Like that's under the chin. Like that's over there, but I'm not quite underneath as much as I want to be. So I go back. Like again, looking back, I don't think it needed to be that much. Pushed the hips through and flattened it out.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to decision, obviously, do we? Do you want to play
No, it's cool.
Where we were.
So, like, you know, this was your last fight before the title fight. So, what? I know what you've changed. What did you like psychologically change? Because with training, me, Craig, Lyndon, and Rhys, we get together, and obviously Stephen Gifford as well, who's the Thai boxing coach, and
Carl Betty was my
Carl Betty as well, he's Taekwondo coach as well. So we get together, we have a meeting, we write some stuff down, and everyone's pivotal towards obviously coming up with a game plan. But psychologically, you know, how did you kind of switch your styles or switch anything different to the next fight? Because I know what you've done. What did you do?
So psychologically, obviously after the Desme fight, I want to make sure that all my bases were covered. So we always look for 1%. So like Rhys is massive help in this. He's helped a lot. Obviously, he encouraged me to find nutritionists with Paul. He encouraged me to sort of we're always looking for that 1%. So we use a heart rate monitor, training a lot. That was another thing that sort of helped take it to a new level. Running programs, strict programs in all my sessions. It's just we're always looking for them 1% gains. And one of the ones after the Desme fight I really took on was I went to see a sports psychologist just to see if there was anything she had extra I could use. And to be honest, everything she went through was stuff I'd done before. So I'll probably be interested in maybe after my next fight when I get a bit more money, doing another couple of sessions there. But we're always looking for that 1%. So there's always different things you can improve on, and we want to make sure all our bases are covered. But this is probably in my top 2 fights of fights where I've come away from and really taken improvements from. Obviously, the fight like Joe, I went in. We had a couple of
I think
negative points.
After this fight, you mentioned, you know, the next fight that you'll finish guaranteed, and I think that was in the back of your head. Me and you had conversations over it as well, and you're like, the next guy I'm going to kill, the next guy I'm going to finish, the next guy I'm going to knock out, or I'm going to submit him real quick. I think that intent, this fight is what builds the confidence for the next one. You know, it gives you that hunger to like kind of think, right, fuck it, really, I got to finish the next guy, and that's what you've done with Joe. And well, I don't think from the whistle, Joe wasn't in the fight. I've got to be honest. It was just one of those fights where you sat back as a corner man and just watched and enjoyed. Like,
he
enjoyed it as a corner man.
He was in my way, and obstacles need to be removed. But the main thing, like in the Joe fight, there's only so many negative things you can take out of there. I controlled distance well, but I didn't move in and out as much as I could have.
The only negative thing I can take from our fight is you're dancing on the way in. Nothing else. I can't say anything of the fight itself, but your dancing on the way in was suspect. That's the only thing I can say. Apart from the fight was okay, but the dancing beforehand was suspect.
I was in there. Moves are incredible, G. You know, I've got the moves. But,
right, carry on, buddy.
No, like I said, the Alexi fight and the Comedy fight, the 2 fights I've really taken points from, and I think they sort of skyrocketed points of improvement because obviously my coaches know, and some people who know me know that I really take I love negative points for my fights. Like I love people to say, look, you did terrible here, you did this bad, because that's how you improve. Like someone saying, oh look, you look really good with your jab and really good there, like they're not gonna help you improve. So my kicking coaches, my wrestling coaches, my jiu-jitsu coaches, my S&C coaches are all really harsh in their critique. And that's that's one of the reasons we work so well, is because they know I love the heavy critique, and I love to be told.
I
Look,
think
you
the
did
one thing you hear off us, I think the one thing you hear off us the most is that's not good enough. I think that's the one thing you hear off you the most. That's the one thing.
100%.
And to be honest with you, is you've got to kind of play your audience as well. There's not many people you can do that with, but yourself, you can say that's not good enough, and you'll say, okay, no worries, I'll sort that out.
That's it. Do you mean like it's how you problem solve? That's people like obviously the Usmans, the I don't know, my Usman stuck in my
Here he
head.
goes.
The Gaethjes, the Fergusons, like they don't get there without obviously going through these checkpoints and tightening up their games, and it's really hard as an MMA fighter to tighten all-round game. So fights like these are perfect for sort of finding these gaps and improving them. So
well, not only that,
I'm
you look
always
at
moving on to
you
the
look at
next thing.
like Gaethje and Usman, who you just mentioned there, and then those guys are wrestlers, and they're beating guys by striking.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like
you have to find these gaps and fix these gaps. Like there's no point just going in there and doing the same thing for every single fight, because that's all kind of good until you have someone where it doesn't work, and you have to struggle to adapt. But obviously, with all my coaching and all the sort of sessions and sort of the areas I cover with my wrestling, my striking, the boxing sessions I do, I'm always improving gaps. And I remember before this fight against Joe, when I was in Team Alpha Male, because I was in Team Alpha Male for the first half of this camp against Joe, and I remember I flew in on Tuesday. Mainly because I'd have the Tuesday night to recover, and then Wednesday was sparring day. So the first day I really sparring, so I turned up with my sparring kit for sparring, did the 2 sessions, and I remember one of the coaches came across and dragged me to the side and said, like, this is the best we've ever seen you. You look so fluid, everything's working good. And then one of my training partners out there, Chris, who's he's a 5 American, 5 times all state wrestler. Like he's done really well in
Chris Gonzalez is a Greco-Roman wrestler. Yeah, I think
5 times all.
When me and Rhys was out there with you, we had a little bit of a chat with him, and I think he said he'd been out there for like 2 years or something like that, and he'd only got taken down once or something crazy like that.
He reckons Chad Mendes is the only person taking him down.
Considering how wrestling heavy the camps are out there and the training sessions are, that's fucking incredible. Like,
so he pulled me to the side and said, like, honestly, you're doing really well, because I managed to take him down. Took him down in a couple of rounds, and he said the same thing. Like, this is the best we've ever seen you, and me and him work closely as well as the other trainers there, and I really felt good coming back from that. And that was before 5 weeks when we come back. Was it 5 weeks for the fight?
I think that's the good thing about when you go out there, and psychologically as well, you get the feel where you are. You know, no session's easy. No fight or sparring, no sparring partners are easy. UFC, Bellator, they're all there. You know, Uriah Faber spars, Chris Gonzalez spars you, Mike Griffin, all those guys are there sparring with you. I remember you sparred with Kevin Lee when I was out there with you as well. So that was crazy, you know what I mean? But I think psychologically as well, that puts you in a good position to kind of push to obviously get better while you're out there. Not only that, to see where your level is at as well.
Yeah, obviously, I got those rounds in with Max Griffin a couple of weeks before his fight, and he's a welterweight fighter in UFC. He lost Charles Olivier on a close split, and do you know what I mean?
He's a tank.
If I'm giving welterweights like that good rounds, and they're struggling with me, then what's it going to be like when I'm sort of getting the sort of better of those rounds every single? See, we have close rounds, but I'm not quite at the level where I can sit down and say to G, like, oh yeah, I did that, and I think I come out on top every single round. Like, obviously it's always back and forth with your training partners, and it's always give or take. But yeah, I'm counting, I'm improving every single time. So by the time I get to UFC, I'll be easily destroying people. Like, I'm more than ready to destroy fighters now.
before we get to a couple of questions, so I'm going to go through the questions. So if you guys got any questions that you can put in the feed, please put them in. I'm going to go through them now one by one, and we'll get some questions in before you go, Miss. But what's the training regime or plan like from you, Rhys, now to Mason over this lockdown period? I know we can't access gyms to do any grappling or anything, so maybe people are interested in what you're doing at the moment now while you're locked down. What's the training regime looking like?
Yeah, so we're quite fortunate with Mason that he's access at home to some pretty decent kit. So you can do squats with the bar, bench press, all right. He probably needs about 2 spotters for him. Because his bench press needs a bit of work. But in all seriousness, it's quite tricky at the minute. I think what a lot of people are going to make the mistake of is as soon as the lockdown's finished, you're just going to go straight then go 100% and just try and make up for lost time, going too hard too soon. So been quite conscious with Mason to even though we've been trying to do stuff, keep active, the intensity's not there, not get the intensity from your pad sessions or your sparring, your wrestling sessions. So we're just perhaps hoping that it's going to be back to normal in sort of 4-6 weeks time, maybe. Bit of a gamble, but we're looking now, we're just sort of building a bit of capacity so that when we can get back to normal, we're ready to hit the ground running, So just keeping it basic, really. We're doing plenty of mobility, keeping the structure that we got with our warm-ups going. And then just like I said, we're fortunate with Mason having kit a lot of people don't have. So we're still keeping the squats going, keeping his bench press, his compound movements, keeping a little bit of power in there. But it's just generally building a bit of capacity. So we're doing sort of time sets, 10 reps back to back, 2 exercises for 5 minutes, things like that. And then what we're trying to do now is just be a bit more focused on a conditioning, because he's not going to get conditioning from anything else. So we're doing longer runs, sort of timed intervals as well. Nothing too crazy, but trying to be really focused on building it up bit by bit. So we're not going in, trying to go flat out lifting heavy stuff. And just got to keep that intensity low for now, because I think what a lot of people are going to make the mistake of then is they're going to go too hard too soon. I'm going to get injured, and we want to be ready to fight as soon as you can. So that's always at the back of my mind. Just keep it mobile.
It's nice, different as well, because obviously in my fight camp conditioning on a treadmill, I don't really run outside in fight camp. So with the weather as good as it is, it's always nice to run outside and sort of get some sunlight and actually get a bit of a tan for a change. Like this is tan for me. Obviously I'm whiter than white, so it's nice to get a bit of sun on the skin. I've also got keys to and access to the boxing gym. Obviously closed doors training. It's only me and I think Lauren has keys. Lauren, obviously world champion amateur boxer, who's training for the next Olympics. So she goes in at set times, I go in at set times, and obviously one person in the gym is no stress. So making sure that I'm keeping the backgrounds up, keeping the footwork as ready as possible. Obviously, when Lyndon gets back, he'll chew me right out, because it won't be to his personal level. But all we have to do is sort of maintain, and obviously we're not in a period where we can be improving too much, but apart from obviously my strength, everything else is just sort of taking over, making sure everything's tight. I work on my kicking as much as possible, and one of the things I am concentrating on in isolation is flexibility and kicking. There are another 2 things that I wasn't too happy. I got more than enough time to sort of tighten those up, and it's the best time really for me to get the mobility in.
We shared a couple of videos the other day, didn't we, about some yoga stuff? Yeah, I've been doing a lot of yoga as well. It's helped me a lot. You're doing a lot of yoga, so that's one of the things we can do is, I know I don't get a lot of time to do yoga, to be honest with you, outside this.
When people can train and they're doing their normal schedule, there's something that people neglect so much.
Yeah.
When you're a professional MMA fight, you're doing 2-3 sessions a day. Sometimes you're doing it for like 14 sessions. It's the last thing you want to be doing. You want to be eating and sleeping and chilling out. So
you don't want to be doing a 15-minute yoga stretching session.
Yeah, exactly. That's the last thing you want to be doing. So when you're already beaten up and sore, but this is a perfect time to be working on stuff like that.
Last question from me then, Miss. What's your favorite way to rest after a session? You've had an hard week. What's your day off look like?
Read. Like one of the things I've been doing a lot, because obviously in part of the process we was doing here before I started adding the run. I've been walking the dog a lot, especially in the sun. I've been going out and doing long walks with the dog, like 10Ks. I don't really like sitting around too much, so it's nice to sort of get out there, stretch your legs, watch the dog run around and enjoy yourself. And I take my Kindle with me and just have a read walking. So walk around the parks, have a read, and sort of take in the nature and enjoy a good book. So I'm really enjoying this downtime, and I think Lyndon said best, which was he's taking this as a holiday. Like there's no other way you can do it, so there's no point being negative about it and saying, look, I want to be back training, I want to be this. There's only so much you can do. Obviously, Rhys, you've had the Rona, so you know how serious it is. So
no fun.
It's stay inside, stay safe, stay away from people, and the quicker this is back to normal, the quicker you can see me knocking people out again.
All right, then. I got a couple questions here, Mace, right? So we'll go through them. Nathan Parry is the first one.
Yep.
If you get to the UFC, who would you like to fight and why? And would you ever consider a Polaris event?
Justin Gaethje, I'd love to fight Justin. Him or Habib are on my two obviously fights I'd love to fight. Top two fighters I'd love to fight. So Gaethje's number one, amazing, going in, and he's got dangerous leg kicks and some mighty powerful hands, and I think here I'd love to try myself against the best. I've always wanted fighting someone like that would be incredible and be an incredible to the team. So obviously that's someone I'm looking forward to. Hopefully he'll still be competing and I'm in the top 10. Obviously he's in his 30s. He's in his 30s now.
I wouldn't know. I'm not sure.
I'm sure he's in his 30s. So hopefully
these wrestlers are deceptive, and they look like they're 40, but they turn out to be like 22.
As to the Polaris side of things, I've been invited on before, and it's one of the things I would like to do eventually. We've talked about it before, and because Cage Warriors are so active all the time, and they're very sort of allowing in when I can fight.
Gaethje's 31 years old, mate. 31.
Yeah, so maybe we will. Obviously, I don't know how long he's determined to stay in the game, but obviously he's 35 to 40 is usually the retirement. So hopefully we'll punch each other in the face one day.
Okay.
But yeah, so Polaris is something I'd like to do, but I think it's more something if I'm in UFC and with the sort of the time they have in between fights, you can have 12 months in between, then obviously I may get a match in then. Obviously it's something we'd have to talk about the team, but with Cage Warriors being so active all the time, I don't really need more fights, and it's an unnecessary risk. Obviously you're fighting guys who have got incredible helix, and that's not my game. Obviously
I remember that Tom Applin, when he submitted Brett Johns in Polaris in Cardiff, you know, and Brett is an active UFC fighter as well, and that was a massive risk for Brett to go in there against someone like Tom Applin as well on an event like Polaris, you know. But Tom pulled off a crazy quick heel-hook, and I think it put Brett out for a little bit, I think, didn't it? So, you know, it is a massive risk, especially when, you know, you're such active, like you said, with the MMA as well. Maybe it's not something you need to look at, but it's always there in the back of your mind. You know, if you need to take over, you look at guys who are coming over to the Polaris to fight from the UFC as well now, and top MMA fighters who are coming in just to take over and keep active, you know, while they're waiting for fights. Right, next one we got Lee Putash Allen. You know Putash. How many hours of training are you putting in on an average day to get to the level that you're at now? And what fighting style combination do you find the most effective? Example, Thai boxing.
Yeah, I understand the question. Thanks for obviously sending questions in. Right, so first. So two answers. So in a normal training, I normally try to do in a normal training week. So when I'm not in fight camp, I'll do 3 sessions a day, Monday through to Friday, and then a Saturday I normally do 1 session. So the sessions range. Normally I'll get in, each of my sessions last between an hour and a half to an hour. In fight camp, it's a bit different. Obviously, my runs are longer, as well as so. Rhys is very sort of understanding as the rest of my coaches with my sessions. So like obviously me and Greg's talked before. I've turned up this. I've had a really hard week of sparring and stuff, and he's lightened the session load, and we've just got some solid 40 minutes technique in, and then
Yeah, like
I sort of
I've sent you
rested.
home sometimes, haven't we? You've come to the gym. I've had a hell of like Craig's give me a hell of a good wrestling rounds. Like
Yeah.
So we sent you home. It's been smart.
Yeah, but it's not the fact that you're not doing a session because you don't want to. It's because you're putting the work in elsewhere. So I think this is why it's
benefits you further down the line so much more.
Why it's good to have people around you who's going to tell you no, or he's going to tell you yes, you need to do more. You know, I think this is a good thing.
A perfect example of my Tuesday. This is probably the day to explain to you. I'll get in the gym for 7:30. I'll do a warm up. I'll kick with Carl for an hour. So we'll do a kicking session from 7:30 to 8:30. I'll do 30 minutes of pads with my striking coach, and then I'll jump on the treadmill and run for about 50 minutes, and then I'll go home, have breakfast. So that's about 2 hour session. Go home, have breakfast, have a shower, get changed, drive to Cardiff, train with Craig for an hour and a half. Usually they're light session. It depending on the week. Some days we'll do rounds in, but most of the time I like running through my wrestling and a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And then Tuesday night, then I'll do Thai boxing in the night and get a Thai session in the gifts. Close to the fight, I'll drop that session and just sit and watch. But it all depends week by week. Like one of the things me and Rhys found early on was too much. Your body just burns out. So obviously with a heart rate and the hydration stuff, we found that works well for me. I've really increased my workload and how much I can push. But
this is
like
where
slowing my runs down and stuff.
Yeah, this is where Rhys will come in with his like heart rate monitor and stuff and saying, look, you're hitting your peak year. You maybe need to take a bit of a deload on this session and chill out a little bit. You know, I think it's important to kind of keep some sort of evidence you're training. I think maybe this is like a lot of what a lot of guys can take out to starting off in MMA as well, is kind of documenting your sessions as well. Maybe not so as in depth as you are with the heart rate monitor, but obviously it's going to help a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, because one thing we did when you first sort of went pro MMA, after when you switched from boxing, we sort of broke down your schedule Monday to Sunday, and then you notice like on a Monday, for example, you were doing 3 like really really tough sessions on that Monday.
I remember my schedules coming through on my phone and going, "What the fuck's he doing?" What's he doing?
Yeah, doing like
fight.
Yeah, it's something that we've sort of talked about, Mace, quite a lot, is making sure you're not doing too much on on a specific day. And I think people do too much in the middle. They don't do enough hard that high intensity. What they think is high intensity isn't quite high intensity, and then what they think is low is low. So people end up doing stuff in the middle. So that's what we've done with your plan. We've always, I think, managed to do it quite well. You've always been open to that, is to make sure your hard sessions are hard and your low session, your more sort of low intensity sessions are low intensity. But you've done that quite well.
There's always open communication. Whereas because obviously Greg doesn't see what I do in the other sessions, and it's one thing to take what I say as sort of gospel. Being able to communicate with other coaches and know what's going on is another thing, so that they know when I need to push them. Sort of put on the back burner. To answer the second part of your question, Lee, the 2 sort of sides of things that I think gel well. It all depends on your back. People who have who sort of got good background and they've got an all-rounded base, I think Thai boxing and wrestling work best. If you've got good jiu-jitsu and you've done striking for years, then that's the 2 you want to take up. But if you haven't got no base and you really need to sort of come in and you just come in like an average Joe who's never stepped into a sort of a gym before, I think they need to make sure that the jiu-jitsu's up to scratch. They find a grappling art that works for them, whether it be judo or, and obviously wrestling for MMA is a lot easier than judo. Judo fills a lot of gaps, but it is easier to have grappling. Obviously, the same as me. Even though I had judo, I did start with a sort of rough grappling side of things. before going into judo and then adapting wrestling. And then I really appreciate side of things. Thai boxing in fight camps is perfect, but outside of fight camps, apart from the knees and elbows, I find that boxing just supplements so much better the technique side of things. So it's hard to get a good thing, but in fight camp, Thai boxing and wrestling are the two best that chain together well.
Right, next question. Jamie Hughes. How much satisfaction do you take in often beating opponents at their own game or their strength? Is it a purposeful thing as a game plan or just a reflection of how well-rounded skill set you are?
I like to dominate fighters. I've always said since the first that I wanted to dominate and decimate. So you show that I'm better in all areas. But if the fight goes everywhere, the fight goes everywhere. Like obviously the Joe fight, we didn't go anywhere apart from a little bit of a wrestling exchange, a dirty boxing exchange, and then
Kickboxing fight,
obviously
really.
I knocked him out. If the fight goes everywhere else, it's MMA. I'm going in there to dismantle you in the most efficient.
Macy Lovell wants to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Porcia, Imogen and Izzy's father. What advice would you give to the younger generation who may want to achieve a similar level as your own?
Keep training, training as many different aspects as you can, and really sort of just enjoy it. So when you're young, all you need to do is build up a reservoir of skills and really sort of just wet your feet. Make sure that you're building your experience. And one thing that I know elite martial artists I've talked to have really agreed upon: when your kids are young, you need to take as long as they're enjoying it and get as many different things as they can. So even other sports, like encourage your kids to compete in sports. So I know like Greg's son Roman, he's a high level football player, and going to football matches and competing in football matches, it helps you understand pressure and it helps you deal with that pressure. So like if your kids do jiu-jitsu, encourage them to compete in jiu-jitsu, encourage them to compete in events in school and sports in school, and encourage them to try other martial arts, try Thai boxing. Obviously with Celtic Pride, you've always got access to Thai boxing as well as jiu-jitsu, and sort of just try compete and get them used to competing, get them used to losing. Like one thing that I've done more than people understand is I've lost thousands of times. Like I've had thousands of matches in judo and I've cut crazy amounts of weight.
I've known you since you was 14 years old, 13, 14 now, I think I've known you. And I remember when you was in the Welsh national judo squad down in Cardiff and we used to train together quite a lot, and you had an hectic schedule then, and well, it's fair to say not every tour away went to plan, you know?
Well, you go away, you'd have I remember one of the weekends I went away, I fought Friday and a Saturday, or Saturday and a Sunday, I had the juniors on the one day and the seniors on the next, and I had over the weekend fight, I didn't come away with a medal. So it just shows how big it was and how used to losing you was. Like I lost twice on both days, so 4 times in a weekend. So I went into 13 fights and 4 losses the same day.
Well, we've all prepared a lot for fights. I mean, myself included, we prepared for a long time. I remember like the Euros are always in January, and we prepared all over Christmas. You have Christmas Day off, Boxing Day, you're back in the gym, you're training, you're rolling, you're doing your strength and conditioning. You fly out to Lisbon and you lose on an advantage in your first fight. That's your weekend over, And I think you need those sometimes, especially for the kids as well. If it doesn't go to plan, it doesn't mean that's the end of the road. It doesn't mean it's game over. You know what I mean? I think you need to take the positives away from it. And I think when you lose, little tournaments like that, or jiu-jitsu tournaments, judo tournaments, kickboxing tournaments, no matter what it is, I think it spurs you on as well to kind of, not let it happen again kind of thing. You know what I mean?
And it's getting used to traveling and competing. Like the big mistakes people make is sort of, this is why the big lights don't affect me, because I don't by the time I get it, the thought of losing isn't anywhere in my head enough times. And I'm at one in everything is on plan. I always know exactly how the fight's going to go. Even if it doesn't go the way I planned, it's still going to go my way. And every fight so far has gone that way. But I'm also prepared for a fight where it's not going to go my way. The Casper Famela fight, where the guy came out, we knew he was going to hard, and he sort of gave it everything he had, and I just sort of sponged it up, waited for my my moment, and I finished him. So I'm always ready, and that is just literally from competing, having incredible coaches, just sort of having a in-depth experience, and obviously we got that title belt. We took that home, and it meant as much, if not more, to my coaches than it meant to me. So it was worth all the effort I put in just to see how much it meant to faces.
Okay, next one. Nice one. This is Red. You know Red from the gym, from the Thai boxing. How did it differ fighting in a closed environment without spectators and a crowd support in your last fight?
I had to hype myself up.
I don't think you did. I don't know. I think it was surreal. I think from a coach's point of view, I preferred it because we didn't have 200 of your friends down the corridors wanting to grab you as you're going into the cage and Mason, you know, waving flags in your face and stuff like that. So I preferred it, to be honest with you. From our point of view, it was more relaxed, and I think that little 10 minutes that we had in our little tent outside before we went in,
yeah,
I think that was quite surreal because there was no noise. It was nothing.
And we can hear Joe's team.
And we can hear Joe's team. Come on now, Joe. Come on, Joe. You got this, Joe. You got this.
It's your time, Joe.
And we were like...
That whole week was weird, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just like, you know, like you didn't leave the hotel room. We went for a little wander around Manchester, like the city centre. It was just the weirdest week, wasn't it? And ordering food every day. Me, you, and your old man just stuck
ordered food in. I didn't eat anything for the bloody.
Eating Nando's, banging matters in front of him.
My old man
it was just
banging everything on his cards, so Rhys is literally getting spoiled.
So how did it, from your point of view, Mace, did you prefer it, or would you rather, like, I know if you ask any fighter in the world, would you rather perform in front of a crowd or not? They're going to say a crowd. But from your personal point of view?
We've always joked, even though it is sort of true that, like, I'm always ready to fight. Like, I could walk down to the co-op in slides and my pajama shorts and be ready to throw bombs at all times, ready to hit double, like, so, like, I'm always ready, and I know it's a joke, but like, that is the way my lifestyle is. Like, this isn't a sort of hobby for me. I know it's obviously people will say, "Oh yeah, it's a job." It's never been that. It's always been a lifestyle for me. Like, this is my lifeblood. Like, fighting is so much a part of me that I don't know where I'd be without it. So
and I think as well you'd prefer it because I think the whole of Glenavon comes to watch you when you fight. I think.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't think
Wales is a
anyone's left
massive support for me now.
Yeah.
Wales is massive support, and like, I love fighting in front of a crowd, but as long as I get a fight, I don't really mind. And like, I spoke afterwards about how my friend, one of my best buddies, is ill at the moment, so he's sort of paralyzed. So it would have been the first fight he would have missed, and he was devastated, and the boys were a bit gutted because obviously one of the boys couldn't make it because obviously like I said, he's paralyzed at the moment. He's having
Lewis,
really Denzel. He's having massive improvements at the moment. He stood up for the first time the other day. Obviously not for long, but he managed to stand up. So he's flying on his improvements. And we joked the other day about how he couldn't have picked a better time because obviously he couldn't have come to watch the fight. He can't work because the business is all closed. So he's saving more money in hospital than he would be in a house. So he really did pick his time. But yeah, I think everything worked out to the best way. And obviously I love fighting in front of a crowd, but as long as I get a fight, I don't care where it is. I think
we'll get Denzel a spot on the next show anyway, won't we, on Cage Side?
100%. Yeah,
so you'll be sorted. Get well as well, Denz, buddy. Next one. When you catch them early, is it killer mode or do you try and stick to the game plan?
Well, look at
I don't know. James, that's from James Messenger as well. James Messenger, I think you know the answer to that question, buddy. I'm not sure why you are. From my point of view, I think, before Mason speaks, I think I would rather have a fighter with a killing instinct. Once he feels that they got their opponent, he goes after it, rather than be too tentative to not do anything about it. But, Mason.
After the Desme fight, one of the things we talked about, obviously, like I said, I was critique of my coaches, which I like, was I didn't put enough pressure to finish on. I was too compliant with sort of just winning the fight than I was on aiming for a finish. So the Lexi fight, I think I pushed it a little bit too hard, and then the Joe fight, I sort of found my perfect balance again. So I'm always looking to put you away. I'm always looking to hurt you with massive shots. I'm always looking to really sink things in, and I think it showed in that fight that like that knee come through. We knew. We talked in the change rooms that it was going to be an uppercut, or he was going to finish it from down through. And,
but like you said, when we break fights down, we're not going to give game plans away now. We plan for fighters, but we look at all areas, I think, and not just that. We look at it's kind of a consensus of people that come together, sit down, we talk about it, and we say, "Oh." But with the Joe fight, it was a kind of not a rush game plan, but it was a week to go, wasn't it? It was a week to go. We had to put something together. We hustled down, looked at the videos, and said, "Bam, this is how you beat this guy."
Obviously, we've done breakdowns on these fighters before. Joe, I mentioned this in previous.
Joe was on the list.
So Joe was on the list to get ticked
for
off.
everyone. Mason, when he first started his first professional fight, he had a list of fighters. I think there was 6 fighters on his phone. 3 have been ticked off, and the other 3 has fallen by the wayside. So,
well, one's
not bad.
The other one's not fighting anymore. And then the other one, he can have his if he wants his. Yeah, he can have if he wants it.
Yeah. So yeah, happy days. I'm just scrolling through now. I'm looking a minute. Owen Davis, how's it going? Oh, hope you're well, buddy. Stop eating. I've heard you're eating a lot, buddy. You're never gonna make flyweight if you keep going.
Keep getting bigger, bro. You can fight me.
He's gone past that. He's up to middleweight, I think now. Do you have any good drills or tips for good head movement? Now this is perfect, obviously, because you're in isolation. This is a solo drill. You can do something in your back garden or something. So have you got anything for O that he could do while he's in isolation for improvement of head movement?
Yeah, buy some string. Any string works. It doesn't need to be strong. It's just long enough. Tie it between 2 poles. Use a washing line. Anything you can get. Anything that you can use. Just something that goes to shoulder height. So you want it literally touching the top of your collarbone around here. And then all you're going to do is literally just weave underneath, left to right. And then as soon as you get underneath and you sort of get that, sort of try and bound a little bit of rhythm in. So you get your bounce, then you get your head movement in. And then you can hit your pivots, your circles, you're moving underneath, get your normal boxing rhythm in. And then bang some shadow boxing underneath. Like there's loads you can do. It's really basic.
You see the boxing guys use a cross, don't you, for pivots and stuff?
Yeah, cross, perfect. A line's obviously easier. You can bang a cross in wherever you want to do, but just literally shadow box play and just hit your pivots, hit your steps, hit your sort of your in and outs, hit your head movement, your sort of your parries. At the minute, I've really been sort of, instead of blocking shots, I've been trying to sort of use my forearm a lot more. My boxing coach is really big on a minute of sort of using new ways to block rather than sort of close shots, because the MMA glove is so it's easy for an MMA. It's easy to come around the glove and hit. So using the forearm to try and create a shelf, sort of like Taekwondo style blocking with the sort of the military side of things to it. It's just sort of getting something in the way and absorbing the power of a shot.
All right. Bear with me for this one, buddy. This is quite a long-winded one. Off Mr. Matthew Hopkins. Yeah. I was going to ask Mason Jones if he could help me, if he could use his past experiences to help people like me in one's own premises in these difficult times. There are 2 men trying to break into my flat. One is a tall man with mad hair and a hook nose, and the other is a short, angry man. When I'm fastening paint cans onto the stairs to knock them out in a comedic way, do I use gloss or matte paint, or doesn't it matter?
Depends on how old this paint is. So I go for one that sort of look that sort of has a stickier texture, and really use it to apply. Also add some tacks in. If you can tack underneath, you can sort of get a landing. Actually, you need to be thinking a bit more and really up in your plans. A good trap is something that can really cause a lot of damage without putting you in too much risk. So set your game up there a little bit, Hopkins.
I think a lot of people don't know we call Mason Home Alone Jones in the gym. Looks a little bit like Pedro Bassett calls him Macaulay Culkin. So I think that's where that question was coming from. I think we got 1 or 2 more. Matthew Creel, my brother. How do you keep?
Before we go any further, big shout out to Creel. Obviously, he did a crazy charity stay run. He's a mad guy, and obviously raised up for it was NHS, wasn't it, G?
Yeah, he raised some money for NHS. Yeah, so my brother done basically the equivalent of Mount Kilimanjaro on his stays in the house. Now, how the fuck he come up with that? I got no idea. I think my knees looked at that and just said, no, I don't think you're gonna do it. So well, fair play to him. I don't know how he done it, but he done it, and I think it was like 15 hours later. So yeah,
big shout out.
I think we need to ask Matthew, how do you keep a strong mindset? I don't know why we asked him Mason. I don't know. I think we're on par with that one. But yeah, how do you keep a strong mindset, Mason?
Like I said, I use a lot of visualization. Done a couple of sort of I can't remember.
Can you? I don't know whether you want to answer this question or not. That's up to you. But you mutter a sentence before you fight. Every time you fight,
let's not talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. No, that's okay.
That's personal for me. That is G.
That's fine.
And that's me. That is. But yeah, I'm.
That's another one. That's another one of your fight rituals, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm really visual in what I do. So I visualize what's going on. How I'm going to win, different sort of ways to victory, different things I've done to finish. So I always visualization or catch them with big right hands, catch them with left hooks, finishing with submissions, finishing with head kicks, spinning up kicks, winning with the body, finishing with falling up with ground and pound. Just all ways and positive reinforcement. My dad's really big on this. He was one of the ones that sort of I use a lot of podium mentality, so I'm always visualizing sort of what's going to happen after, what I'm going to say after, how I'm going to look with my belt on, and it's just positively reinforce yourself all the times that I've talked to fighters about this before. By the time I fight, I've already won the fight 300 times, and I've never lost. So at the end of the day, if I've already won 300 times, what's another one win for me?
Right, awesome, nice one. Kieran Fricker, aka Kieran Davis, aka K Frick. Any up and coming fighters we should keep an eye on for the future?
Oh God, there's loads, especially coming out of Wales. Owen Davis was a good shout. He's coming to the gym. He's obviously training through Pedro Bessa and going to be a monster. Ellis Lewis is another one. Ellis come all the way to America with us, and he's another one who's got the mindset to make it as a champion. He just obviously got a couple little boxes to tick on the way up. Some fighting experience, but he's going to be a monster. And there's loads of boys in the gym. I
think we need a shout out as well. That we've got probably one of the most active Thai boxing fight teams running Stephen Gifford as well in probably the UK. We got the number one in the UK, Lindsay Edwards, that fights out the Celtic Prime Martial Arts. Stephen's doing an awesome job with the Thai boxing, not only just the kids as well in general. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, the MMA. We got some guys in jiu-jitsu as well who are doing really well. Jamie Hughes leading the way for us as well. Obviously we've got yourself who's fighting MMA, but not only that, we've got Thai boxers as well, kids and adults, who's obviously under the tutelage of Stephen Gifford, Carl Roby and Lindsay Edwards that help out as well.
I think it's really sort of important to sort of lay out that everything I've done as long as working with Greg, working with Craig, working with Lyndon and Rhys is all about for other people to follow along. Ellis, obviously, I really encouraged him to find a boxing coach. Working with Pocket. I gotta be honest as well, Mace. I think since you've kind of it's come out that you're working with Lyndon a lot between the boxing sessions and people see you fighting MMA and see your boxing and MMA, how many guys have gone to work with Lyndon and his boxing as well, specifically for MMA, especially from like our area as well. So Lyndon's like, he's massively knowledgeable. He's from Pontypool. He's got a massive following himself. He's got some good guys that he trains with and fights under him as well. But not only the guys he's working with in South Wales in the MMA scene. Yeah, well,
he's so open-minded as well, though, isn't he, Lyndon? Do you know what I mean? He's not just like your typical old-school boxing coach.
No.
Coaches, he's so open-minded, which you don't find, which he's ideal for MMA, isn't he?
Like the guy started working with a Thai boxing coach. He started doing a bit of Thai boxing sessions again because he wanted to make sure that he could sort of be the best coach to me he could as he was coming through. He also did a couple of sessions with Carl to make sure that he could pad for a kicker to maximum his ability. He lets me kick him in the legs, kicks in his head, and he's always keen. Like he'll never say or act as if he knows better than you, even if he does.
And I got to be honest, he's probably one of the best padmen I've seen. Like honestly, like he's incredible. You've thrown shots in warm-ups just out of the blue, and he's caught them, and you're like,
I tried knocking him out. He's too fast, man.
Oh, he's
fast little bastard.
Fair play to him. Yeah, he's proper.
He's such an open mindset, and he's so willing to learn, and he's such an incredible human being. Like me and Rhys get on with him on House on Fire, and Greg, like he's come away with us, and he's such a personality, and it's just he's so open-minded. I can't explain. Like someone will show him something new, and even if it contradicts what he does, he's so willing to learn, and he tries things. And like there's no correct route. There's no right answer to things. Like jiu-jitsu's a massive sort of example of that. There's always, even if there's right things to do, there's always more than one answer to a problem. And like he's so open-minded on improving that it's just it really helps me go from level to level. But obviously we've gone a little bit off topic there, but yeah, Lyndon's incredible.
Guys to watch, basically. That's what we had. You named them out: Owen, Ellis. We've got Thai boxers, Lewis Pugh, Lindsay Edwards. These guys coming through,
definitely,
and not just out of the kids as well.
So out the boxing gym is another good one. There's a little. He's not that little anymore. He's massive. So Kieran James. He's obviously Lyndon's nephew. Which you can understand how much of a monster he's going to be, because the guy's such a mindset on him. Like he's got a harder training mentality than I.
Lyndon's brother does a bit of boxing as well. Am I right? He does a bit of coaching as well.
Yeah, he's the Welsh. He's really heavily involved in the scene. So he's one of the Welsh amateur boxing assistant coaches. Obviously, he's attracted such a sort of cabaret of fighters underneath him. He's got Lauren Price, who's the amateur world champion at the moment. He's got Rosie. I can't remember Rosie's second name, but Rosie again is another boxer who's incredible. And he's had such a sort of high caliber of boxers who've trained underneath him. I know Cody Davis trained with him quite a lot at one point. Joe Kazagi Jr. Oh God, there's too many names to put into it. But Archie is an incredible boxing coach as well as Lynn. So having access to someone like that as well, who comes and really sort of picks holes in my game, is incredible.
And on the flip side of that as well, Quaggy was Academy as well in Cardiff. He's kind of producing some monsters down there as well on the grappling scene, and himself, judo black belt, jiu-jitsu black belt, Welsh national coach in the past for judo.
GB
athlete, fought on multiple Polaris shows as well.
Fought in world championships, in European tournaments, shared the mats with multiple world champions.
Commonwealth got bronze.
Did he have a Commonwealth Games bronze?
Commonwealth bronze, I think. Don't quote me on that. Sorry, Craig.
No, I'm sure he fought the medal in the Commonwealth medal. But I don't know whether he did previously. Mind, he could have previously medaled when he was there. But the guy's had an incredible career, and again, what a team. They focus on more sub-only events, and they clean up. Obviously, Owen O'Flanagan trained under Craig for years before moving back to London. I'm terrible with names. You've got
Jamie Tange, so he's crossed over MMA.
Josh.
That's it. Yeah, Josh Hudson.
Yeah, like Ellis trains down there as well.
Ellis and Fionn trains down there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy amount of guys training there, and they're all top.
Perfect. Okay. Next question from the Doctor of Love, Mr. Andrew Beaton. The doctor that you privileged. If you're having a question off Mr. Dr. Beaton, then you're a privileged man. Is this still a drive to defend your title on the Cage Warriors as many times as possible, or do you want to go to the UFC as soon as possible?
Can I say both? Obviously, I'd love to defend as possible until that UFC thing comes up, but I'm in no rush to get UFC. Like, keep putting them in front of me, and I'll just decapitate people. Like, this is a tyranny. This is like, I'm a tyrant. This is my belt. So if anyone wants to come and take it, they're welcome to try, and I'll just decapitate people. So line them up, and I'll run them through. They're just going to go.
I think the answer to the question is no matter where you fight, you're going to fight.
Oh man, do you mean just put them in front of me? I'll fight anytime, anywhere, any place. I obviously I can't see UFC signing fighters for another 12 months. So I'd love to fight in Cardiff. I'd love to fight on an island card. I'd love to go to Ireland, get perhaps war on. England, anywhere. Europe, just fight us anywhere. A French card would be cool. Obviously we're more than, we love cutting weight in hotel rooms. It doesn't bother us. So I generally don't care. Just find me someone and find me an opponent, and I'll decapitate them.
I think Rhys is laughing because he's the one who's responsible for Mason's weight cuts as well. If anyone is interested, obviously, in any advice from Rhys with his weight cuts, he's done 9 of Mason's weight cuts along with other pro athletes as well in MMA. Yeah, he's done a lot of pro guys as well. So
I cut about 13.5, 14 kilos, and my weight cuts are always ridiculously easy and fun. I eat stupid amounts leading up to a fight, and the weight peels off, and then Rhys gets to drag the weight out me by force, and we always make weight. Like, never even come close to tailing weight, and we've never had a problem where we've had to sit there and go, look, you're really gonna have to push to get this weight off. It's always come off.
Okay, Lee Putash again. He's got, your last fight was in lockdown. The last fight was in lockdown. The world in a global fight. Did that give you the emotional drive to win?
I'm quite cold-blooded when it comes to fighting. I don't really have an emotional drive, but it was nice to know that there was no other sport on at the time, so that I'd have a bigger audience, and that like the UFC guys, because there was a UFC card after me, I knew that obviously people like Dana White and all would definitely be watching from home. So I got to put on an incredible performance in front of Dana White.
I think from our point, sorry to cut you off, but from our point of view, we didn't mention anything about that from our point of view either, did we? I think we was more concentrating on just the fight itself, nor anything else was around it, because over the last 2 years you've been building up towards this moment. It was always a goal of yours, so it was inevitable it was going to come. We knew it was going to come. So when you kind of got the nod to fight, I don't think we even thought about that lockdown stage that everyone would be watching. I don't think we even mentioned it.
No, the only sort of thing that we noticed was obviously there was no people in the crowd. It's really secure, and it was hard to get people in. My dad went in the change rooms, and Rhys kept handing me antibacterial wipes to wash my face and my hands every 2 minutes. So I stunk like an antibac wipe for the entire weekend.
Ironically, Rhys was the one that got ill.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was more to do with obviously still working on until last minute. Obviously she had work, so I think that's where that come from. But I don't think anyone actually got ill from the Cage Boys event.
Probably the only time anyone mentioned about everyone watching it was when you were on TalkSport. That was weird, just sat in the hotel and like Darren got phone to you and Adrian Durham.
Well, we had a speech off Graham beforehand, the fight thing, and it was quite intense.
Rhys didn't see that because Rhys wouldn't allow it.
No, it was me and you went in. It was quite intense when that speech. I think it was like this is Sparta moment, this is your fucking time to shine, boys, don't let us down kind of thing. And I remember looking over to Mason, and he had his head down, just thinking, this is what I'm going to do anyway, doesn't matter.
I think I was trying to sleep, to be honest. I was a bit bored.
No disrespect to Graham, I don't think he's going to see this, but it was quite, from a coach's point of view, it was quite a real speech as well, wasn't it? Because I don't think we didn't mention it, so we didn't kind of back up to that idea until he kind of mentioned it. We was like, oh fuck yeah, you're the only sports show that's on in the world right now, probably. So that was quite surreal.
I didn't feel pressure, so it was just sort of, I just wanted to fight. Like, fight day is a boring day for me because all it is people waiting around, everyone's looking at you like blow. I just want to sleep and relax somewhere until they can drag me out and warm me up. So it's just a constant wait, and sort of there's all these hoops you've got to jump through when all you want to do is just literally just bleed someone. So it is a long.
Okay, this is kind of a good question and kind of a bit of a statement at the same time as well. Brian Whittaker, we are aware that the fact that social distancing will be in effect for a long time. When we go back to boxing gyms and BJJ studios, how do you think that the instructors are going to adjust the fact that people's fitness become bad? A lot of my friends do not want to train or take care of themselves over this pandemic. So you can chip in here, but I shared a couple of posts with my students on WhatsApp the other day, and the importance of kind of just chipping over. And you touched on this earlier on as well when we asked you what you're doing in this lockdown. You're kind of still training the same way, minus the sparring, really. But I think it's important not only just for your well-being as well, but just you can do what you want at the end of the day. If you want to sit on a sofa, like myself, I'm out to the house 7 days a week. I use my house to eat food at 9 o'clock and sleep. That's literally it. So I'm out, football, gym, work, whatever it is, I'm out every day of the week. So for me, this is a bit of a godsend. It's recharge my batteries. But I'm at the stage now, even now, I'm still doing a session a day, whether that be kettlebells, whether that'll be band workouts, whether I'll be using my indoor board, whether I'll be going for a hike or a run, whatever it is, I'm doing something every day. The guys who don't want to train, from my point of view, that's their choice. If they don't want to train, then they may want to use this time to kind of rest up. But I think that's going to be mentally draining over a long period of time. You know, the longer this goes on, the more that's going to wear on you. And I think once you get back to training in the jiu-jitsu academy or boxing or Thai boxing, whatever it may be, or even just going for general runs, I think you'll be so far behind that it's going to become a chore then to want to go and train. I think that's the key. But
Grungy. Before Rhys starts, because I know Rhys is going to have a good answer for this, I just want to say that obviously the weather's nice. The weather's lovely. It's not raining. So for a mental side of things, spend time with your family. Obviously, if you're on your own, spend time in the sun. Spend time with your dogs. We've got them. Obviously, just walking around and appreciating what's around you. If all the training you do is you go, that's all you want to do, or if you just sat in the car doing a little, and you can't really find the motivation to get up and go, like every one of my training programs is usually with a coach who helps push me on, and they always sculpt what I'm doing. And I think as a mental sort of challenge, like this is perfect for me because I'm having to push myself. I'm having to make myself go in the gym and lift, and I'm having to make myself get up and walk. I'm having to make myself go to the gym and hit some bags when I don't want to. If I just really don't, if I really want to stay at home, it's always a challenge. But sort of, if you know you're going to go back to jiu-jitsu when you want to get fit, or you're going back to boxing, you want to get back to it, just try and bang in a bit of shadow boxing here and there. Try and build up to something. Try and get for a walk, and you don't have to be doing. You don't have to be walking the equivalent of Mount Everest up Mount Kilimanjaro up your stairs. You just need to be going for a light walk for a couple of K. And the main thing is get out in the sun. Like the vitamin D will do well for you, and sort of the heat is going to make it easier to keep hydrated. So you're going to be sweating a lot easier. Keep hydrated. And sort of just enjoy it, but try your best to do as much as you can. Even if you don't have you only have an apartment, there's tutorials on YouTube. Like we've got the internet. We've got the biggest database of knowledge that humankind have ever had. Get on there and find an exercise video or a yoga video and just improve on something.
Awesome.
Rhys?
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just you've got to manage your expectations. I think people are going to get injured, and I think if coaches are pushing people too much too soon afterwards, most people have like 2 months of not doing anything, and then not just a little bit of training here, like absolutely nothing. Some people, so it's just, I think you got to think about when you're going back to the gym. Is really take your time, and if you feel like you haven't done enough, that's probably enough, and you can build it back up. You know. But then I think you just got to work on something. No, you just got to. I think, like, we just from a performance point of view, I've been chatting to like some other coaches I know, is that when you got to use this time wisely. If you're someone at Mason's level, you've got aspirations to be Mason's level, you've got to use this time to work on some little things. Perhaps not, you haven't got the greatest hip mobility, work on that. You've got the perfect time to work on something and help keep your mind active too.
If you really are struggling, you've only really struggling to think of ideas to do, go buy a chicken. You can buy chickens quite cheap. Chuck it in the garden and see if you can catch it. It's really perfect. If you can't get a chicken and you are from Wales, get up the mountain, catch a lamb, chuck it in a little fence and chase that around for a little bit.
Tom Hopkins, Beavis.
Oh, here we go. What do you want?
Do you think you could take Beavis out?
Come on, right? Next question. That's not even a question. I think Rhys could take him out. Rhys infected with Corona could take out Beavis.
I don't know. I'll have a go.
3 days deep in the with COVID-19 could literally scalp Beavis in seconds with a rusty blunt spoon.
Jim Hughes again. Is there a particular country or place you would like to fight at the most?
Japan. Japan is somewhere I'd love to fight. Obviously, Madison Square Gardens and Vegas are both up there as like they are going to be monumental fights. Like I know Greg will be excited fighting those as much as me. Like you get there and you fight it and you really made it. If you're fighting in Madison Square Gardens or in Vegas, you've really made it. But Japan for me is always had a against. I've always wanted to fight, and I know Rhys really fancies it as much as I do.
I think from just a fanboy, I think from a fanboy point of view, the old Pride days and fighting in Japan, and the silent audience,
and your background as well.
Yeah,
your background and traditional martial arts.
Well, I think that'd be nice.
But any country I get to sort of raise carry that dragon into battle with is an achievement for me. I'd love to fight in different places. Like I'm not going to be the type of guys who goes into UFC and calls the fight in the London card in the States and fighting on enemy territory as much as possible. So,
I think you're the type of guy who will fight wherever they tell you to fight, to be honest, miss. You're that guy. You're not like, oh, I'll hang out for this card. I want to do this. I want to do that. You just, if they say you're fighting, that's where you're fighting. Simple.
Do I'm told? Take wherever scalps I'm allowed.
This is from Dan Williams. Give that as a big unknown when the next card is going to happen. Does that have any effect on your motivation to train?
No. The main sort of effect I have on training and motivation, like I said, is training on my own. Sort of lifting is hard when it's just me. Kicking is hard when it's just me, and boxing is hard when it's just me. So obviously I can't do jiu-jitsu, I can't really do any other sparring, I can't really wrestle too much apart from some wrestling drills. But my girlfriend helps a lot. Obviously she's been there and done that, so she helps tell me to get off my ass and train. But it's like
I think when you're a fighter, I think like 30% of your training is like on your own anyway, whether that's like mental training, whether that's going for your run, whether that's lifting on your own. Like a lot of it is on your own. I know you need partners, but I think this is a short period of time anyway that we're going to be off any like contact. So if you can maximize your sessions, that 30% can be your 100%, then you can get better at that. And then when you get back doing your normal day-to-day activities, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, your Thai boxing, your boxing, whatever that may be, then obviously you've benefited from the time you've had lifting or running or doing whatever that may be. I don't know. Looking on, I think that's the last of the questions, to be honest with you, miss. I'll just wrap it up here then, buddy. Thank you very much for your time. Anything you want to
add? Like I said, I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to my coaching team. Obviously, the amount you guys put in, it's made all this possible, and like you guys been believing in me since other people were laughing. So, like people are not laughing anymore. They understand who the number one in this in this sport is in Wales. I'm really going to shake this division up, and I can't wait to get to UFC and really start putting us on the map. Do you know what I mean? So it's just something I look forward to doing, and I really say thank you to you lot. Another quick shout out to my sponsors, everyone who supports back home. SD Sealant's a massive sponsor for me. I was waving the bottle around earlier. I've always got a bottle on me, and like the guys who support back there, PP Builders, CCS Scaffolding, Tatami Fightwear, obviously again always wearing something. So thanks for all the support. Paint Seekers have always helped out. Candle Tans, another Welsh company who's always helped and supported. So if you're interested in sponsoring, drop us a message. Otherwise, thanks for all the support, guys, and I look forward to fighting on another Welsh card soon.
Right, Mason, Rhys, thank you very much for your time, boys. That's awesome.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you very much.
See you soon. Thank you.
Yeah.